Now, every marriage is in one of these four positions right now. The question is, which one are you in? Welcome to School of Wife, where we treat marriage like the high stakes, high reward, learnable skill that it actually is. I'm Dr. Dos. Now, if you hear from one of my shorts, you've already seen the pattern. You know drift isn't random. You know momentum follows laws. And something in that resonated with you enough to bring you here. So today we're going all the way in, the full framework, the research behind it. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which of the four positions your marriage is in right now. And also you'll find out what it means for where you're headed. Now, here's the insight that changes everything. Relationships don't fail randomly. They follow predictable patterns of momentum, just like physics. And just like physics, once you understand the laws, you can work with them instead of against them. I've identified four distinctive relationship positions based on decades of research from the Gottman Institute, University of Denver, Marriage Studies, and from 35 plus years of my own experience. Now, every marriage is in one of these four positions right now. The question is, which one are you in? Now, position one, that's mutual progress. Both partners are actively investing in the relationship, moving toward each other, toward connection and shared growth. Research shows that couples in this position report a 87% relationship satisfaction and have a less than 10% chance of divorce within 5 years. That is exceptional. But here's what no one tells you about position one. It doesn't maintain itself. Over a third of the couples who start in position one slide into position two within 2 years. Not because anything went wrong. It's because they assumed that momentum would continue without effort. And that is not the case. Position one has an enemy, and it isn't crisis. It's complacency. Complacency. Let's look at the common ways in which couples typically exit from position one. Number one, taking each other for granted. Number two, letting the demands of career conflict with connection. Number three, assuming that because things feel good, maintenance is not required. Position one is the goal, but staying there requires intention and effort. Now, let's look at the next position. Position two. Position two is one partner stagnant. So one person is actively investing in the relationship while the other one is stationary. They're not moving away. They're just not moving toward each other either. One is moving toward and the other one is not moving at all. They're just staying still. Now, almost half of marriages will pass through this particular phase, phase two. 2/3 of those will move within 18 months. A move will be made from phase two. Now, within 18 months, that's the critical period. They could either move to improvement or move to deterioration. But a movement occurs. Nobody stays in position two. It's sort of a path. You're moving, going somewhere with position two. So the 18-month period is actually quite critical. And the funny thing is, it's not even funny. This is where most high-achieving women live. In position two. On the way to either improvement or deterioration. In position two, you're doing the emotional work, you might be initiating, you're noticing that something is wrong, you're carrying the relationship, you're also carrying everything else. You're probably tired. But here's the painful truth. Direct attempts to pull your partner into engagement often increases resistance. The harder you push, the more they pull back. That's because in physics, it tells us every force equal an opposite force working with it. So if the intervention is not right, the stagnant partner typically begins not just to stay stagnant, but to slowly drift away. And this usually happens within 18 months. So I'm sure you've heard this many times, the phrase, we just drifted apart. Well, this is where it was born, in position 2. But here's the good news. Position 2 is very responsive to the right approach. I'll cover prescriptions in part 2. Now, let's look at position 3. Position 3 is slow divergence. One partner is gradually moving away while the other one is still reaching for connection. So let me just be clear. So position 2, one partner is stagnant, the other partner is reaching. Position 3, one partner is moving slowly, the other partner is reaching. About a third of marriages are in position 3. Half of them are restorable with the right intervention. The problem is the warning signs are very subtle. Fewer shared activities, conversations that are almost entirely logistical, declining intimacy, physical and emotional, and an increase in the living of parallel lives, even inside of the same house. Here's what makes position 3 quite dangerous. Conventional advice like improve communication or go on more date nights, that kind of advice almost completely fails with position 3. The just try harder advice completely fails. These approaches don't address the underlying momentum problem, and that's why they fail. They often then accelerate the drift. Do you know why this is so? It's because there's a psychological principle at work here. It's called the opposition reflex. The more you pull someone in one direction, you're trying to pull them in one direction, the more unconsciously or subconsciously they pull in the opposite direction. This is why so many women tell me, the harder I try to fix this relationship, the more my partner seems to pull away. It's not your imagination, it's relationship physics. Now, position 3 requires a counterintuitive approach. That's exactly what we cover in the prescription part in part 2. Now, let's talk about position 4, active divergence. One partner isn't drifting anymore. They're not just drifting, but they're actively moving towards something else. It could be a career, it could be a friendship, and it could even be a hobby. Worst of all, it could be another relationship. Gottman research showed that 87% of marriages in this position will end without specialized intervention. 87%. That's a sobering number. But here's what relationship coaches get wrong. In position 4, the divergent partner isn't running away from the relationship. That's not what they're doing. They're running towards something. They're seeking something. Could it be fulfillment? Could they be seeking respect? Could they be seeking excitement or appreciation? Or do they feel that something else is missing? Understanding that distinction completely changes the strategy, and the standard advice, fight for your marriage, don't give up, pursue, that has less than 10% of succeeding when the partner is in active divergence. Counterintuitive approaches such as increasing attraction has more than 3 times the success rate of the standard advice that you're going to get out there. Position 4 requires a very strategic strategy, very specific too, and we'll cover that in detail in part 2. Now, since you now understand the 4 positions, this is my question. Which one describes your marriage right now? Do you know? I've developed a 10-question assessment based on Gottman and Auerbach's 32-year marriage study. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it gives you the exact position, plus initial steps that are based on where you are. You can take it at schoolofwife.com, and the link is in the description, and it's pinned in the comments. In part 2, I'll go through the specific prescription for each position, what actually works, and what makes things worse. How to start creating movement from where you are right now. So here's what I want you to hold on to from this. The position your relationship is in right now is not your final destination. Relationships are fluid. Momentum can shift. But it doesn't shift by accident. It shifts when you apply the right strategy at the right time, the right prescription to the right diagnosis. I'm Dr. Dose, and this is School of Wife. Take the assessment, and I will see you in part 2.